He lay face down at the feet of his saviour, and realised the searing pain in his back vanished as soon as he had fell through the portal. And as he rose to his feet, the Thalassiac merely stated, "You were separated from his magic, so this curse can no longer feed. You are saved from it." That made sense, he thought. And the Thalassiac stated, "Yes, it should make sense, as it is the truth." He froze, staring at this thing. How the hell did you hear my thoughts? Simple. You are of magic. All of you is magic. And you are not in your true form or on your true plane. Therefore, you are merely threads that I can read, interpret, and see beyond. As you see others, I see you. It smiled at him and tapped him on the side of the head. Hidden truths and true names are all you need. It was true. He did see all that other daemons were. And if this creature could see them as he saw others, then that would explain how he could not best it. The Thalassiac waited patiently as he came to terms with this fact, adding one more thing. "Oh, I am not a Thalassiac. I am Thalassiac." Now that made more sense, he thought. He had only ever seen one of them, and for it to be an individual made more sense than for there to be an entire race of them. But the Scaled Ones had told him there were many of them. So what had transpired? "Oh no, there was once more than just I. But your kind feasted upon mine when the first prime incursions began, before recorded histories upon the primes. Though all of these trials only I eventually escaped. But I know you all, by nature and name." It sighed, finishing with, "So don't get any ideas." So now what? This thing knew all about him, and yet he knew next to nothing in return, other than a name, which no one else seemed to know. Great. Yet more loose ends with no way to chase them. "Do not worry, I will not attack or harm you, but I wish you to leave spine to my plans. Also, leave the hosts be, or it will be the end of you." "I will leave spine to you, but the gods? No, I am of them, and they are my quarry. I cannot, I will not," he started, but was cut short. "But you shall," it said, ending his protestation. "They know much of your kind, but I know more. And you know much of them, but again, your knowledge lacks. You are still of them, and so vulnerable as they are, and they know your weaknesses, as yours are theirs, and they will use them against you if you continue." They talked as it moved around him, checking his form and power, probing the threads and gleaning information. He could feel the poking and manipulations, but could not see how it was being performed. He felt like a marionette being moved without control, as the threads danced beneath the creature's sight. "Enough," he said, and moved back from Thalassiac. "What is it you want of me, then?" "Just for you to stop attacks upon the primes, and be at peace with your existence. If you must wage wars, do it on your own side of the magical fence, as it were. Stop destroying the plans of those above and beyond your station." "Beyond my—" He looked shocked, then puzzled. "Beyond my station?" "Yes, beyond your station, beyond your comprehension. Even as a godling, seeing as much as you have, there are things beyond even your fledgling power." He considered what Thalassiac was saying, but was sure he was masking his own intent. This creature could seemingly go anywhere and stand against forces much more powerful than his own. But it had to be fallible. It had to have a weakness. "Perhaps I do, but you shall not be made privy to it. At least not by me," it said, and smiled at him, its strangely curved mouth peeling back like a nightmarish creature from... Oh wait, it was one of those creatures. "I will leave this place, and so shall you. Only you will be placed where you belong, back in your realms." And with that the Thalassiac waved, and a portal opened before them. It motioned for him to move through, and he did so, although slowly, staring at Thalasiak, trying to get an impression of his threads, something, anything to tell him what he was. He saw literally nothing that an ordinary mortal would not see. Very strange indeed. He stepped through the portal and felt a familiar rush of magic wash over him, as he stepped onto his old tainted prime, where he had once been made a god. Why did he place me here? He wondered, as he moved through it to rest. He reasoned that perhaps it had placed him here as it was a prime, and upon here where his power was lessened. Who knew why this creature did what it did? He was home at least, and so he rested. Back on the prime that had seen him face off with Spine had been feasting hungrily, and was ripping holes in reality all over the realms, pouring his own plane into this prime, making it his own. And so, as Thalasiak watched from a safer place upon that prime, he watched the demise of yet another to this destroyer of worlds. His plan would work, for it had to, for the salvation of the rest of the primes. He drew power to him and opened a tether to another prime, to a place where others were waiting for his arrival. Yes, this tether would lure him there, and once there, they would strip his power and trap him within his domain for all eternity, or as long as they could. And so, he pulled the magic and threads of this prime, and channeled them into this thread, forcing them to flow like water, trickling at first, and then gushing into a torrent, pulling magic from this prime and sending it directly to the other. It was something that was, according to the mortals of the primes, impossible. But he knew better, and he could do such things, and so he did. On the target prime, a creature of the wild waited, and fashioned this magic into a vast portal upon the ground. Within the mouth of this portal, a large piece of prime floated, suspended by the magic being drawn from the other place. This formed a floating island in a sea made up of a portal to an unknown location. Thalasiak appeared on the edge of the portal and nodded to the creature of life, and it faced him across the vast tear in the fabric of magic and began to chant and channel. Thalasiak joined him, and as he did, the magic began to rise up around them, forming a dome reaching hundreds of feet into the air, within which symbols darted and flashed as Thalasiak weaved his words. Hours later, the task was done, and the being of life moved back, drained from the ordeal. But Thalasiak carried on. He set about perfecting this cage, ensuring the dome was sealed as tightly as possible, placing a seal after protective seal upon it. It just has to hold him here for a few moments, he thought. The portal, the tear in magic, led to a special place, created over a great many centuries by Thalasiak. It was a portion of the prime, set adrift in a region with no connections to anything else, for it was sealed from all contact by the void itself. This spot of prime existed purely isolated, a speck in the centre of a sea of darkness, able to see places of creation in the farthest distance, but with no ability to pierce that which even he could not touch. The void would be the cage for the terror spine, and it would be sealed shut by a sliver of the wild, for that touch of the divine, creating the jailer for the demonic destroyer. There would be no escape for this threat to all existence. Thalasiak gathered power again to himself and waited, bathing in the flow, until he sensed the approach of Terror Spine. Spine's power pushed its way along the tether with an immense surge of magic, announcing his arrival long before he would have poured forth. But something was wrong. He had changed course, and was instead heading towards another prime. Spine erupted onto the prime with Thalasiak speeding after him. "Something is wrong," he said to the threads as he chased the quarry. Spine had diverted from the trap to the prime where Dominia lay, where Lassashar sat nestled amongst the threads of the divine, and he began his assault immediately. as he had sensed the forming of a new set of hosts. They were performing the rites of ascension, and this was his gateway, an open and direct portal straight to the very gods themselves. Thalassiak realized as soon as he set foot upon the Prime that there was a surge of power there, and divine magics were rife. But as he moved to intercept Spine, he became aware of another, well, something, as though he himself was being watched. But only the Source had been able to do such a thing. But on the Prime planes? No, something was not right. Spine drew his power forth, opening small rifts to his places of power, channeling raw energies from his own planes and growing in power tenfold in mere minutes. He began pounding upon the divine defences of Lassashar, and was met with resistance, albeit a minor inconvenience at best. As he fought, he began to slowly enrage, and his strength grew as he drove on, seeking to pierce the barriers that protected the divine lands of Lassashar, and enter the path to the lights. The power of the lights began pouring into the defensive wards of Lassashar, and so too did the creatures of the divine step forth to drive the daemon back.